So the title, the title of today's class, Sensational Embodiment. So we are going to play today with a really a little different kind of practice to increase our awareness. And the definition of awareness being choosing to be my own observer. Choosing to be my own observer. So movement, really the purpose of movement in an embodied mindful movement situation like yoga is self-discovery. That's the purpose of our movement, is to have this increased self-discovery. And as we get older, we want to maintain vitality, which includes our brain. We need our brain on board and our brain to be stimulated. That's part of our body, of course. So I hope that today you can be open and flexible, not just in your body, but in your mind for some new things. Anyway, start with a seat. And whether you're in Sukhasana or Virasana, see if you can get comfortable so that you can sit for a few minutes. Feel the grounding through your hips, legs, your sitting bones, and a lifting through your spine. And then connect with your breath, increasing the inhale to a count of 4 or 5, and matching the exhale. Bring your awareness to where your breath enters your body, or to the rise and fall of your chest. Really connecting even the small movements as we sit to your breath. Coming back to the breath at any time in the practice will help you stay really mindful and really present. Great. And just release the intentional breath and just begin to stir through your pelvic bowl. And my instruction throughout the practice today is going to be this: find your edge, find just the beginning of sensation, and then back off slightly to stay within a border of sensation, so that you're not overriding the nervous system. So this circling right now might be really small, Take it in both directions. And it also could be quite big. If the circling is bigger because that's where you're finding sensation, that's fine too. But back off slightly. So you're in like a little box with your edges on both sides, so to speak, okay? And come back to center, and then just drop your head to one side till you feel sensation. Stop there, come back, drop your head to the other side, just until the first sensation, which you might call a stretch, and then back off. Now, as you move side to side, stay within those two edges. So it might be a smaller movement than you're used to doing. Most likely will be. I'm going to play with this the entire practice today. Come back to center. Now make some circles with your nose in one direction. Your nose is making circles. And bring your attention to the top of your neck, the back top of your neck. See if you can feel this there. Change directions. Back to center. Now, take your time, make your way to your back. I'm going to talk you through this first part. So you'll see me still sitting here. But come to your back, stretch your legs long, arms alongside your body. And then invoke a yawn. And as you yawn, just allow your body to move organically. So whatever that is going to look different for every person. So big yawn and allow your body to move. If you have animals, you see them do this every morning. It's called pendiculation. So take a yawn and allow your body to move. So you're moving from the inside out. The body is just naturally wanting to move in a certain way with the yawn. Try a couple more times. And then try the same thing without the yawn. Just letting your body move from the inside out. Great. Then from here, have your blocks handy, have your strap handy. Bend your knees and take the soles of your feet as wide as the edge of your mat. Rest your hands on your abdomen or beside you. And we're going to go in the windshield wiper movement, but I have some very specific instructions for you. So as your knees lean over to the left, the first moment you feel sensation, stop, inhale back to center, knees to the right. The first sensation you feel, wherever that is, your psoas, your low back, your outer hip, stop and inhale back to center. Now stay within that little window as you move back and forth. Stay within the window. The knees might go further one side than the other, but you've got a window where you're coming up against sensation. Make sure that your breath and the movement are coordinated. So it could be inhale to the knees up to center, exhale to one side, or it might be inhaling to one side, And a big exhale and coming all the way to the other side. You let it happen in your body the way it feels right for you. Going slowly enough that you can really pick up when you come up against that first sensation. Go maybe 4 to 6 more times on each side. Very gentle movement within those edges. Then you can come back to the center. You could rest your knees together or keep your knees apart, but now take opposite hand with opposite elbow so that your forearms are stacked right above your chest. And then bring your elbows to one side until you feel sensation, maybe defined as a stretch, right? Then inhale back to center. Take your elbows in the opposite direction until you come up against that sensation. And that's where you stop. Then you back off and you move back and forth within that window. Within that window. Make sure your breath and your movement are coordinated. Take 4 to 6 more repetitions. Release your arms down beside your body or rest your hands on your hip pointers. Knees separated. Inhale, draw your pubic bone away from your navel. So anterior tilt of the pelvis. And then exhale, pubic bone towards navel, posterior tilt. Now find that same little window. So as you inhale and tilt, as soon as you feel sensation, no matter where that is, stop, back off, posterior tilt till you feel sensation. Wherever that is, stop and back off. And now stay within that little window. It's going to be smaller. It's going to be a much smaller movement because we're aware of the sensation and we're not overriding the sensation by continuing in the movement, but we're staying within this very smaller range. The brain really likes this because it's varied. It's working. The brain is working on making the distinctions. Keep your breath and your movement coordinating here. And stay in your body. In other words, don't go into some conceptual idea. Stay with the movement in your body. Good stuff. Okay. And then come back to neutral. Grab your strap Put your strap around your left foot, extend your left foot up towards the ceiling. Okay, we've done this, we do this many, many, many times, but now with the strap in your left hand, the same thing. Start to open your leg to the left just until you feel sensation. Could be on the inner thigh, could be in the psoas, could be on your outer hip. But as soon as you feel that sensation, back off, come back to an upright position, and then just over across midline till you feel sensation. Back off and come back and go leg out, back to center, leg across midline. It's likely going to be a much smaller range of motion. And I urge you to really sense where this happens and not to override it with a habitual pattern, something that we've done a lot, or some idea you have of what this should look like. Just back and forth. Again, let your breath really lead you and contain the movement as well. So it could be inhale out, exhale back into the other side. Slow it all down. Next time you come to upright with your leg, just slip the right leg in as well. Take the strap in both hands, press through the balls of your feet. Really feel the back of the legs, the hamstrings. There should be a good, strong sensation in your hamstrings here. Where this is the Supta Dandasana, so we're not going to pull the legs any closer to the chest. Just feel the stretch here. So even in the static postures that we do, see if you can find that edge of sensation and maybe back off slightly, which might look like a little bend in your knees or legs forward slightly towards the far end of your mat, right? You decide. Now slip the right foot out, left foot remains, left foot out, right foot remains in the strap. Take the strap, both sides of the strap in your right hand. And then open your leg out to the right just until you find the sensation. Come back to center, come across midline. There it is for me. I'm going to back off, and now I'm going to go back and forth in that window, in that new range of motion. Breath and movement together. When we back off in intensity, we can feel things a little bit easier, actually. When we have so much intensity, it takes more intensity to feel. So with this less intense movement, it doesn't take much to feel differences. Good. A couple more times. And you can release the strap. Take both feet, soles of both feet to the floor. Take a couple of rounds of breath, just integrating all of that really intentional movement. And then roll to one side and use your front hand to press yourself up and come to a seat. So coming to a seat, you want to come to just a couple of little suggestions for, especially if you tend to, when you sit in Sukhasana, have your knees tend to be floating up in space. You take your blanket, if you can see my blanket here, I've got my blanket, I've got the corner of my blanket facing forward, and that's where my sacrum is going to go. I'm going to sit on the corner of the blanket rather than the long edge of the blanket. Just try it and see if that allows you to open up in the front of the hip and have the knees a little bit more. Yeah, that's great. I can see that some of you, that's better for you. Yeah, great. So now in this position, and if this is an uncomfortable position, take Virasana with a block, okay? So now inhale and just lift the right arm up until you feel the first bit of sensation, back off, and then exhale, release your arm. And repeat, staying in that space, right? And it might be that your arm comes out to, the T position. You might be able to you might come up and over. That's your first area of sensation. And then release back down. And then repeat this just, 12 to 20 times. Breath and movement coordinated. Which way you inhale and which way you exhale doesn't matter so much. I take the arm up on the inhale, down on the exhale. And then we'll take the other side. And this side might be very different. So you might feel sensation sooner, or maybe you don't feel sensation until you're almost into a side bend, right? But the same idea. So as you inhale, pay attention, really pay attention. Where is the first sensation? Oh, right here. I feel it in my outer shoulder. So that's where that's the window I'm going to use for the movement. So even if you don't have as big a range of movement, can you still have the inhale be about a 4 count and the exhale of about a 4 count? Great. Then next time you rest your arms down, just roll your shoulders a little bit up, down, and back. You could change the cross of your legs or the way you're sitting if you need to. And now with your attention to your pelvic bowl, so it is like a bowl. As I inhale, I tip the bowl forward. So anterior tilt of the pelvis, like I'm going to spill some water out of the bowl. And on the exhale, I'm going to roll my pelvis back, trying to tip the water out the back of the bowl. Now, here again, once again, now we do this movement all the time, but find the first bit of sensation, stop there, back off, go in the other direction. As soon as you feel sensation, stop. Now for me, going the other way, a posterior tilt, I really feel that right away in my low back. So I'm going to stop there, and then I'm going to work in that space. I'm just going to work in that space. Inhale and exhale. And I'm not going to override my nervous system with a habit. The brain loves this. This is new information. This is aware, more discretion for the brain. And the brain is what the aliveness in the brain, it translates to a vitality in our body. And they're connected, right? They're all the same. Now come back to neutral. And now bring your attention to your rib basket. So we're going to bring the rib basket in front of the pelvis, and then the rib basket behind the pelvis. So it's not a leaning forward, it's bring the rib basket in front, bring the rib basket behind. So it's in your thoracic spine, your mid back, that you'll feel this movement. Same thing, find the edge, stay within that edge. Breath and movement married together, coordinated. This can be a little hard to feel. Close your eyes if that helps you to go inward. And then release, relax, shift the shoulders out, move the hips around a little bit. And now inhale your arms to a place of comfort. Draw your rib cage to the right, back through center and to the left. Just the rib cage moving side to side. Again, this might be super subtle because sensation might come up right away. Where is the sensation? For me, it comes up in my low back. So I'm going to find those edges. And then as I move back and forth, I'm going to stay within those boundaries. Yeah, very subtle. Very subtle. And release. Roll shoulders up, down, and back. Shake it out a little bit. Now let's do the same thing we did at the beginning with the head. But we're just gonna find that space, find that edge, come back to center, go in the other direction, find the edge, might not be the same on this side. Now stay within that little window. And this is really tricky because this is breaking a habit that we have of overriding the nervous system and going beyond the edge. I want you to stay really within that edge. Now, shake it out, set up your blanket if you want to for your knees. You're going to need your 2 blocks. So we're going to be on our knees for gate. And you have you'll have one knee bent with the block beside that knee, the other leg long, heel on the floor, and the block out there. I'm not going to get to the block, but somebody might, because we're going to find that same kind of movement. So here's the setup, one knee bent, the other leg long, heel on the floor with the toes pointing up. And I've got my block, I've got my left knee bent, right leg long, so if everyone could do that, just for ease of my cueing. So then the left hand comes to the block, inhale the right arm up, and begin to side bend just until you feel the sensation. Then back off. And then side bend in the other direction. Right hand towards your thigh, left hand up, just until you feel the sensation. Back off. Okay. And now go back and forth with that. Staying within those boundaries. Our nervous system loves this, right? Because this is like saying, wow, I feel really safe here. I'm totally aware of where my boundaries are. And I'm not trying to push past them. And even though the range of movement is not as big, can you still lengthen both the inhale and exhale? One more to each side. Good, then we'll switch sides. So now the right knee is bent with the block beside your right knee. Left leg long, block beside the lengthened leg. And, you know, of course, this is going to be different for every body. All right. Okay. So now with my right fingertips touching the block, I inhale my left arm up until I come to this first real sensation. Then I back off. Then as I exhale, I lower, the left arm comes towards the extended leg and the right arm goes up, and I feel for sensation on this side, and then I back off just slightly. And then I move back and forth. Super supportive for our nervous system. Stay in your body, really feel you. We're working in this practice of into a feeling of oneself. Couple more times in each direction. And then we'll bring both knees together. Bring your blocks out in front of you on the highest setting. And then cat-cows here again. As you inhale and you tilt the pubic bone away from the navel, find your edge, back off. Exhale, round your back, tuck your tail, find your edge, back off. Now move within those two boundaries. Breath and movement together. Do somewhere between 2 and 4 more. And then we're going to transition up to standing. So start by standing in Tadasana. With the palms forward. Okay, and we're just gonna do this a little bit of a bouncing movement. So you kind of pick your heels up and drop them down. And then start to speed that up a bit. So you're bouncing, your whole body is sort of moving up and down. You might feel silly at first, but nobody's watching you. And then shake your arms out, shake your legs out. Again, nervous system loves this. Okay, so in this Tadasana now, super, super simple. We're gonna inhale the arms up and exhale the arms down. So you can come out in front of you or you could come to the side, but just notice where the sensation starts, back off, and stay in that little window. Breath and movement together. Notice if you're in a hurry. So we can only go fast with something that we already know how to do. That's just performance. If we want to change our brains, to change the vitality in our bodies, to change our bodies, we have to give the brain new information. Slowing it down is one way to do that. Changing the range is another way to do that, or the reduction of the intensity. Mindfulness, and this is a mindfulness practice, is another way to do that. Good. Take your last couple and then rest yourself in Tadasana. Gather muscle to bone, release the shoulders down your back, and then do that same bouncing. Good. All right, bend through your knees slightly, emphasizing the slightly, till you find the sensation. It may be, you may be almost upright, or you might be deeper. When you find the sensation, first sensation, back off. Bring the arms out in front or above your head, either is fine, or somewhere in between. That's the inhale. Exhale, press your legs straight, drop your arms to your side. So the Utkatasana, the fierce pose. So inhale, then exhale. Slow everything down, matching breath and movement. Let's do 6 to 8 more. Notice if you're in a hurry. Come back to the Tadasana and bounce. Great. Now, step your right foot forward, left foot back with toes out, but really short stance. This is the Vera one. Bend through the front knee. So very, very short stance. I've got about 2 feet probably. Arms out in front or up biceps by ears. This will be our inhale. On the exhale, we'll just bring the arms down to the side and lean forward. So body all in one line. So we're not really hinged over at the hips. Front leg stays straight. Inhale, reach the arms back up. Front leg stays bent. Exhale, bend or lean forward, more it's a lean, with the arms down to your sides. That's the vinyasa. Keep connection to the back foot. Legs are engaged, but this is a much smaller range to work in. Inhale and exhale. See if you can lengthen the inhale and exhale. Notice if you're overriding any of your sensations, your nervous system, if you're overriding sensation because it's a very, you've done this movement a lot. Try to feel where the sensation starts and stay in that window. Next time you're leaning forward, bring your left foot to your right foot, Tadasana, bounce. Good. Take the other side. So now left foot forward, right foot back, right toes are out, front knee is bent. Again, a really short stance. Inhale the arms up to the point of good sensation, just backing off slightly if you need to. On the exhale, you're just going to lean, arms come down to the side, front knee stays bent. You're in like a pencil shape, you got one straight line from the back foot all the way through the crown of your head. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So about 12 to 20 repetitions here. Next time you're leaned forward, step the right foot up, Tadasana, and bounce. Shake, 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 bounce, 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 bounce. Good. Good. Now we'll open up to the warrior two. So right foot forward, left heel out. But again, short stance, bending through the front knee. So I'm in a very short stance, shorter than normal. Okay. Arms out, front knees bent. This is the inhale. Exhale, bring your right hand to your right thigh, left arm up and over. Inhale back, to the warrior two. Exhale, left hand to left thigh, right arm up and over, exalted warrior. Now, as you move back and forth, find those places where the sensation just begins and back off. And then come through warrior two each time. You go exalted warrior, warrior two, extended side angle. Very short stance, very mindful movement. Keep lengthening the breath. If you find yourself slipping into a deep, deep sensation, back it off a little bit. We'll meet in warrior two. And then from this position, inhale the arms up, turn the front foot so that both feet are parallel to one another. And allow your hands just to come through heart center. Heel toe the feet together and bounce. Bounce, 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 bounce. Good. Other side. Little bend in the left knee. Short stance, right heel is out, arms out in the warrior two position. That's the inhale. Exhale, left hand comes to left thigh, right arm up and over. Inhale back through warrior two, and exhale, exalted warrior. And just repeat this pattern on your own breath cycle. Extending both inhale and exhale. Again, the breath sequence doesn't matter as much as keeping the movement and the breath together. We'll meet in warrior two. Inhale as you reach arms up overhead, turn both feet to be parallel to one another and the short edge of the mat, and exhale, hands through heart center. Release, heel toe the feet together and bounce. Let your heels moving up and down. Let your hands shake free. Let your arms really shake. Nervous system loves this, okay? Now let's go back to the first side. So right foot lined up with the long edge of the mat, left heel out. Very short stance, very short stance. I'm going into triangle. I'm gonna keep my left hand on my hip and slide my right hand down, back up my thigh. Slide it back, up and back. And I'm going to come right to the edge of sensation. I'm going to stop there. Squeezing muscle to bone on both legs. We still want the engagement there, but I'm in a very different stance than probably my normal triangle. Now, when I stack shoulders here, because I'm not, and your body should be, your upper body should be quite open here. It's a very upright stance. Stacking shoulders means that this top arm isn't straight up in the air. It's probably more over to an angle so that I'm lined up. My shoulders are lined up. So even in a holding pose, can you find those two edges or your boundary, your edge, and back off slightly? So it might mean you even come up a little bit. And let's do 5 rounds of breath here. Come up to standing, and we'll just switch sides. With right hand on hip, just slide the left hand down your thigh. You're finding your edge here. Finding your edge. And we'll hold. Squeeze muscle to bone. You could feel, especially if you have your hand sort of up on your thigh, really feel your thigh engaged there. Squeeze muscle to bone, and then stack shoulders. Five rounds of breath. Sweep the top arm up, come back to the Tadasana, bounce, 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 let the arms be free, let the hands shake. Shake out the legs. And now take goddess pose with just a slight bend in the knees, feet, toes out, slight bend in the knees. Find that edge, you might be pretty upright, but find your edge and stay back off from your edge just slightly. Let's bring the right hand on top and the left hand underneath like you're holding a big beach ball. Then you're gonna side bend over to the left. So the right hand's on top, you side bend over to the left. Then as you inhale through center, switch the orientation of your arms, side bend to the right. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Just keep this little vinyasa going here, maybe 12 to 20 times. Breath and movement working together. Notice where the sensation comes first and stay in that little window. For me, almost all of this, the sensation is first in my low back. So I'm not overriding my nervous system, not pushing through something. One of the worst phrases ever to enter the human language, no pain, no gain. So many athletes, yogis included, have an injury which keeps them from really experiencing vitality. And then one more on each side. Come back to center, straighten both legs, bounce. Let your shoulders be free and loose. Let your arms be free and loose. Let your hands be free and loose. Good. Shake out your legs. Take your favorite vinyasa to the floor. It could be a sun salutation, could be a squat, but come down onto your belly. Come down onto your belly. make a little pillow with your hands, resting your forehead on that pillow. Same thing. Well, really draw the kneecaps up by squeezing muscle to bone, pressing the tops of your feet into the floor. But with your forehead resting on the floor, inhale, press up till you feel the first bit of sensation. And then exhale, lower back down to the floor. And this could be quite small for you. If you feel right away the sensation, low back again for me is what comes up first. But it could be your outer armpits, could be the shoulders. So move back and forth, up and down in this way, staying within that little window for anywhere from 12 to 20 repetitions. And then you can roll onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest. And draw your knees into your chest. And then take the soles of your feet back to the floor, wide as the edge of your mat. Rest your hands on your abdomen. And again, windshield wiper, find the first bit of sensation. It might be a bigger range now. And then come back to center. Go to the other side. How is it now? How is it now? So you can continue in this range. If your body really feels like you want a bigger twist, allow one knee to come down to the floor completely and stack the opposite knee. You can keep your hands on your belly and rib basket or open opposite arm up. And you're probably going to feel quite a bit of sensation now in this much bigger range. But you can also continue just with the windshield wipers. If you're in a much more, a bigger range twist, you want to inhale, top knee up, come back to pulling knees into your chest. So sort of organizing again here. Then knees to the opposite side, open up into a twist here. Any amount. You could have your left hand resting on your rib basket side. Again, you'll come back to the center with knees stacked over chest, pull knees into your chest. And then straighten legs. Or take soles of the feet to the floor with knees resting together for Shavasana. Use the same awareness in your Shavasana that you have throughout the practice. So really watching the breath, awareness of small movements. Coming into some stillness. Any props you need here, covering up. And let any tension between the brow go. Mental grasping. Soften the space around your eyes so you're not pursing around the eyes, the inner, the outer eyes. Release any tension in your ears. Let the skin on your face, just drip down to the floor. Soften your hands. Soften your hands. Take your time. You can stay in Shavasana or come to a seat.